everyone. Today I wanted to show you how I made this card. I'm going to make this again, but I'm going to do this in the Blackberry Bliss. These two colors were part of the new In-Colors for this year. So this was the Lost Lagoon, and then we're going to use the Blackberry Bliss for now. So the stamp sets I'm going to be using is the Hey You stamp set. I used the Happy Birthday on this card, but today I'm going to use the Thank You on this Blackberry Bliss card. And then I also used the Beautiful Bunch stamp set. I love this stamp set. It's new, and what I really like about it is that there are a lot of punches that you can use with it. So you can use the brand new Fun Flower punch. The Fun Flower punch goes with it, and you can also use the 1/2 inch circle, the 7/8 inch scallop circle punch, and the Petite Petals punch, because there's your little petite petals. So very versatile stamp set. I love stamp sets where I can use a lot of my punches. Alright, so to start with, I created a base card. This is basically 8.5 by 11, and I cut it in half at 5.5, and then I scored it 4 1/4. So that gives you the traditional A2 base card. And then for layering, I took the Blackberry Bliss, and this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4 to layer on top. So these are cut in 1/4 of an inch smaller. And then the next layer, where we're going to do most of our stamping, is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So you've got a 1/4 inch border around all of them that you'll mount together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp all the way around this image. So I'm going to open up my Blackberry Bliss ink pad, and you're kind of making your own designer series paper for the background. You're just going to stamp. So I've already pre-mounted my stamps, so I'm going to use this little polka dot sort of center flower, and I'm going to use this, I call it a splat, a flower splat, and we're just going to randomly, and I did the stamp on, stamp off technique. So basically what you do is you stamp the image, and then you stamp it on your card. And remember to always stamp off the edges, because it does make it quite interesting. Alright, and then if you stamp it again and then just stamp it off on a piece of paper and then stamp it somewhere else, you see how it's a lighter shade of the Blackberry Bliss. Alright, so I'm just going to continue doing this. Stamp off again and do another one. Alright, and then I'm going to come in with this and do the same thing. One I will stamp, directly on the paper, and another one I will stamp off and stamp again. So this will be a solid one, and I'll stamp off this one. I'll do a couple more. And then I'll fill in a few more of these. Let's put it down at the bottom. And also when you're doing this, you'll want to, twist your stamp around. And we'll just do a couple more over here, and then I'll do one more over here. Okay, so we'll put these two aside. Alright, now the next thing we want to do is, you can't really see it very well. Let me try and zoom in so that you can see this, but behind this white cardstock I have another flower that I simply punched out. So I've got sort of like 2 layers, and they kind of you can see it better here, they kind of overlap a little bit, so I think it adds some interesting dimension. So how I did that was I basically took a piece of white cardstock, and then I used the other flower in here. this solid one. You see there's a solid flower in here? So I used this one. Let me just switch these. And I'm turning this so that two of the petals are at the bottom. I showed this in another video where I showed you how to put a little dot on the stamps that have matching punches so that you can punch it out exactly. Alright, so I'm going to ink this up. Then I'm going to line it up along the edge of a white piece of paper. Let the ink absorb into the paper because it's a solid color. Then I'm going to take the punch and I'm going to punch this out. Let's get that nicely lined up. There we go. Alright, so there we have our background one. That's going to go on top. Alright. If you want to, you can actually color in, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Write marker, and I think I'm going to color in the edges. Sometimes the punches, they do punch out, but they leave a white edge, which I think can be quite effective. But in some cases, you may want to color up those images, especially if it's a solid stamp like this. It's really easy to do. And I'm also darkening the petals that are going to show a little bit. This has still got a bit of a white edge here. I'm going to let this dry too because the ink is, I've got a lot of ink on here. Did I get all the edges? Yes. Okay, so we'll just set that aside for a moment. Alright, now we're going to also stamp, so let's take this solid one off and replace it with, we're going to replace it with the other flower. I think I have something on here, take that off. Okay. And again, on white cardstock, you're going to use again the Blackberry Bliss. Cards that use one ink color, these are called monochromatic cards. So it's a card with one color. I'm going to stamp this again. I'm going to punch it out. Alright, so there's our other flower. Now, again, on this card, I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is a button. It's one of the vintage clear buttons. And then I actually put a little piece of part of the flower. It's the little small flower, this one, the petal flower. And I stamped this out, and then I punched it out with a really small circle punch. So let's do that next. So we're going to take out our white cardstock, and we're going to stamp this up close to the edge, because all I'm doing is I'm taking out this center bit. So I'm using this little tiny 1/2 inch, this is the older version of the stamp, 1/2 inch punch. And I'm just going to punch out this little center here, like that. And that's going to go in the center of the button, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this piece of paper here because it might be a bit distracting for you as I put the card together. Alright, so let's get back our card base. We're going to be putting this on, and this is going to go on top. Then we're going to be putting our flowers together like this. You're going to offset them. I'm going to offset them a little more this time, I think. And then this is going to go, here are the buttons. These are called the Designer Vintage Faceted buttons. I'm going to use one of the large ones. And so we'll be putting this little guy in there. Okay. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to have to trim. I can't remember what I did on this one. How come it's smaller? Oh, you know what? I wonder if I used, I can't remember now. Sorry, guys. I think I used a really old-fashioned paper punch. Did I? Or is that too small? Let's have a look. I just don't remember what I did. No, that's really too tiny, isn't it? Yeah. I don't remember what I did. That's kind of funny. But anyway, let's, you know, I must have trimmed it. So let's bring back the card and we'll stamp it again. Try that again. Maybe I just stamped it with my scissors. Should have done the video I should have done this video right after I made that other card, but that's okay. Yeah, that's way too big. It's not going to sit in there. So I'm just going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to trim it a little bit. I'll try and keep the points of the flowers, of the petals, intact. Let's see how that works. There we go. Ta-da! Perfect. Perfect. Okay. All right, so let's put this on with my glue runner. Oh, I think I'm running out. Oh, I've just run out. So let me pull out another glue runner here. Always have on handy another glue runner. On hand, I should say. All right, so let's get this puppy on. It's not very straight. I'm going to show you a really cool tool that no crafter should be without. And let me just hold this up for a sec and get this tool. This is a Cricut tool. It's a little spatula. See? It's really, really thin. I don't know if you can see that. Super, super thin. And so when I have to take off paper that I've glued down, it's just brilliant. You just get right under the card and go gently because you can see how it just slides under the paper. It's just fabulous. And then I can reposition this because I did not do a good job. Okay, check it. You might have to add a bit more tape, but that looks okay. Let's try that again. Okay, that's way better. All right, so you might want to pick up one of these little spatulas. I can't tell you how often I have used it. And it will get a buildup of glue on here, but all I use is alcohol, and it just cleans up beautifully. So there you go, another little tool to invest in. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell it, so you might have to go to a craft store. Okay, so then we've got this. Now, we're going to be wrapping thread around here before we glue it onto the base card, but we also have to chop out our, we need 3 of these modern labels. So let me punch out 3 of these. 1, 2, 3 of those. So we need 3 of those. And then we need to stamp our thank you on white. And we're going to punch this out with the extra large oval punch. Okay, so stamp that on there. Doesn't matter that it's straight because you're punching it out with an oval, so you can line it up easily in there. All right, so there's our little thank you that's going to go on top of here. So I think we can safely glue these down. Oh yeah, that runner's not working, so I'm going to use my Tombow glue. Put a little Tombow glue on, and I'm going to put one there. I'm going to butt it up right along the edge of this one. That's what I like about Tombow glue. You can move it around a little bit before it dries. And let's do one more. Those look pretty straight. Okay, this thank you I'm going to put up on some dimensionals just to give it some pop. Oops, that came undone. What the hell happened there? Okay, but before I do that, I'm going to wrap my string around. So we're using this linen thread. I love the linen thread. Oh, and let me close my ink pad. That's a dangerous thing, leaving my ink pad open. So with this, I wrapped it around, no bow or anything, and I just taped it on the back. So we'll wrap it around close to the top. So what I'll do is I'll just, and I like to use Scotch tape. Sometimes I don't muck around with little glue dots. They're not always the best choice. They're fabulous, but they're not always the best choice. So sorry for my arm. I'm just going to get Scotch tape down, and I'm going to tape this on the back. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap it around the card 3 times. And I like to cross it over. Gives it a bit of interest. Just cross it over a little bit like that. Pull it over onto the back. Lie it down. Again, take a piece of tape. Tape it down. And then we'll snip it off. Okay, so that's done. And then you can adjust it on this side if you want to separate them a bit more. Come on. There we go. All right, so now we can safely stick this on the card. So I think I'm just going to, let's see, I'll get my other tape runner here. I put some down the middle. There we go. Now you can put this on your card. Okay, and then we can take our oval. Put our thank you on there, like that. And then we're going to take our flower. I'm going to pop this top one up. This one I think I'm just going to glue on. like that. Let's get another dimensional out. Where did I put them? Here they are. We're going to pop this up and we're going to offset it like that. And then I'm just going to glue, I'm just going to stick some glue in the middle of this button here, Tombow glue, and then stick that little flower in there. And I'll get my bone folder and just pop it in there. I'll just hold it down for a couple of seconds. Okay. And then to pop it onto this part here, I also used Tombow glue. You could use pop dots here, or sorry, not pop dots, glue dots. You'll need 2 or 3 because the Stampin' Up! Glue dots are quite small, but I think Tombow glue will work well, but you just have to make sure you let that dry. So there you go. There's your card. And just to show you, I always like to decorate the inside of the card. So all I did was I cut another piece of white cardstock measuring 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just did the background around the edge like that. And then you can just write your greeting or stamp another greeting on the inside. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.